Right, hello my darlings, I'm back with Penelope's cover. Um, Still winging it a bit. I'm not made some decisions yet, but we're going to have a go. So I've done my measurements. I had a book cover already sort of taped together. This is the plan for the inside of the cover. So I'm going to have that double spine. So this piece is for that extra spine to go onto. So my signatures will go into this. So that can come away to the side. Those are going to be my two, pardon me, inside panels. So I'm going to have to, I'll be on and off camera. So this is going to be in snippets, I think, this process. I'm going to try to film as much of it as I can. These will have to be lined up. I'm going to embellish those. Those are going to be pockets. One on the inside cover, one on the inside back cover onto those panels. And then my front cover has got about a ½ inch overlap to come in. Of course, this piece will go down last with the signatures stitched into it. Let's put this off to the side a minute. So those are those. This is the pre-made cover that I had from a previous project that I didn't use. I've already worked out top, and I've made a hole there because the plan is I want to stick one of these brads into the spine and have a dangle or a tassel, jewelry dangle, woolies, I'm not sure yet, some sort of besom hanging off the side, the spine. So this will be my actual cover piece. So that is on camera, Faith. Right, I've cut this piece as a front plate piece. So hopefully once this is, before it's completely bound, I want to take that piece away and build it up with some laces and maybe collage, build it up with all sorts. So there's a textured front plate, a textural front plate on it. Closure, I'm still considering. I found these. I've got two different sizes of these that I may use, or I may just put eyelets in. I'm not sure yet. And I did find 4 gold corners to go on there. So that's the plan. I'm considering, I don't have, as I said before, very much of this, but I have a lot of this. So as a bit of an experiment with my stencils, let's take one of these inside pockets, put this out of the way. New piece of ghost paper here to start. Just bog standard printer paper. So I'm considering doing that same effect with the stencils. So I've got my frayed burlap, move that out of the way. I've got that weathered wood and the Victorian velvet pink. So yeah, let's just have a go. And we'll see, and I'll dry it and see what it looks like dried. So I want both colors, all 3 colors really, but a really light sort of, if it takes to the fabric. And just here and there, not necessarily all over. And let's see if it actually has any effect. No, none at all. Very, very faint. So let's try with that Stamperia one with the frayed burlap. Let's see if you get any sort of impression on there. I'm not pressing down very hard. Very, very lightly. Oop, that moved. Let's have a look. some. Let's try pressing down a little bit harder. So like I said, I've got loads of this. Oh, you are getting an impression. Let's see if I can hold that up a bit. I feel like my camera is very far away. You are getting sort of a faint effect. Let's try a dab of blue. Or not blue, weathered wood. Very, very faint, but I'm having to give it a bit of welly. Let's try the pink. And have a bit of a swirl going on there. Let's have a look. Interesting. A little bit more pink. Perhaps these are very pale as they are. And maybe blue at the bottom. Now that is looking more likely. Hold it up. So, I'm quite pleased with that. Now I need to dry it and see what I'm dealing with here. So I will hit this with the hair dryer for just a second. Be right back. And I'm back. Put that back over to the white side. Hold it up again. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that sort of subtle effect from the ink. So I think I'm going to go for it. Pardon me. I have bought more the fatter ones of these. And I think I'll have better luck with a fatter one. So I'm going to replace that pink one with a fatter brush. And I think I'm going to go away and have a go at the rest of that fabric off camera with the stencils and the ink, and I'll be back after that. Right, and all stenciled, and I'm loving this effect. It's so subtle. I had to give that pink a bit of welly with the brush and really push down to get it to show up. I don't know if the pad is just old and it's running dry, or it's just that pale of a color but look at that. Very yummy. Very yummy. I'm happy with that. So that can be put to the side for the moment. I got a little bit carried away, and I had to go on this pattern as well. I didn't use any of the pink, the crushed velvet or the weathered wood, but what I did do with the frayed burlap was just go and hit it briefly on all of the different white areas, and I'm quite loving the effect. So those pieces have been done. Those are the two side panels. That's that front panel. Pop that away. And those are those two side pockets. And that is my center spine. So quite pleased again with how that's come out. So the next step I think I want to do is pop my side panels in where they will live and place those central pockets. And I don't know if I explained, my cover is just cardboard that I've hinged with linen tape. So you can get linen tape online. I picked mine up in a local hobby store here in the UK. It's not in the craft section. It was in the section of the store with frames and things like that. So there we go. So that's how the inside cover is going to look. In frame, yes. These pockets I will embellish with some trims and things, but I will have to do this in sections because my sewing machine is elsewhere. And there's a glitter on there. There we go. So place them where I want them. I don't want them too close to the edge here because my cover will hinge in a 1/2 inch. And I want a little bit of a space. I want to put quite a tall tag in there, I think. There we go. So there, not measuring, just eyeballing it. And that way, that way, or that way, that way. And eyeball that so it's roughly in the same spot. No one is going to measure it. It is beauty and imperfections. So, just a bit. I'll pin these in place now before I take it over to the sewing machine to get them stuck on. Mark which way's up. I've pinned that one in place so I know, I clipped it in place so I know that's centered on the book. These pockets will get a bit of extra yumminess on both sides. And then on that central spine piece, I will give a little yumminess on the edges of both sides of that as well. So I need to go dig out all of my haberdashery and have a play and pin it together, ready to sew. So I'll be back. Right, I had to rummage around in the lace, and I think I know what I'm doing. I think. So it's a good thing. So I'm going to have some of this on a pocket. So cut another piece. I'm not going to undo this just yet until I know I need to unravel the whole thing. I'll probably throw these in a basket and then restaple them another time. So on my pockets, I want a white, a pink, and a tea dye to edge the top of my pocket. I have cut them slightly bigger, but that's okay because any bits that get trimmed off once they're aligned and pinned after being sewn through the sewing machine go into my little squirrel jars that I use for all sorts. For the center, I want, this has been tea dyed and it's a bit wonky. But once I pin it, I can get it sewn in. So that's going to go in on that edge, going in. And I wanted something skinny to go on there. And I don't think the pink quite does it. But I've got the white there. So I found, so that one? Yeah, that one. Let's see if there's enough of this skinny white one. Should be. So if I run one down that way, is there enough to go down the other way? Yes, only just. So I'm going to take this scrap piece here and snip it in half. There we go. And snip. So this is going to go down the right way up, that way, and that that way on the inside, I think. Right. And while I was rummaging, I found two pieces that I've hoarded for a while. This is really wide. This is like just about 5¼ inches wide, but it's stretchy. So this I'm going to leave out and possibly incorporate somewhere else. And this piece is like a tulle, like an embroidered netting. And again, this one is really wide as well. This is 6 inches, just over 6 inches. And I've got quite a bit of it. So whether I incorporate that in Penelope later, I don't know, but I'm going to keep it out. Out and visible so that I know. I don't have many sort of shades of blue. I've got the odds pinks, but for just the cover, I'm going to go with this. So I need to pin, clip, get it prepped, ready for the sewing machine. So watch this space. Right, so what I've done is I've done the tops of the two inner pockets. And if you notice, like I said, mentioned about my squirrel jar, I cut those pieces a little bit longer just so that I could line them up to get them through the sewing machine. So I've only stitched the top at the moment, but the bits that got trimmed off the end are these types of things. And I don't throw them away. I have something I call my squirrel jars of interesting bits. Now, if I had, the random bit of, if I had a random bit of that, I'm not going to save it. But that kind of thing I do save because I use them to top tags and things. So those go into my squirrel jar for later. So next thing, before I do this piece, because I've got it clipped into place so I know it's centered, I need to pin these to the back panels and then go and sew my pocket in on the 3 sides. So that's the next step. So watch your space. Right, so that's all the inside bits sorted out. So those 2 panels have been stenciled, pockets sewn on. I've added the tops first, sewn the 3 edges. The center bit for the hidden spine, I changed my mind from the synthetic. I found a skinny roll of cotton lace, so I used that instead there. So those 2 have been stitched on, ready to go. And next step then is to work on the outside cover. But before the whole thing gets assembled, I need to decide on that front panel what's going to go on the front of the book before it gets glued, stitched, and put together. So, watch this space. And I'm back. My craft room is total carnage. There are things everywhere. So I've worked on that center plate that I want to put on the cover, or thinking about putting on the cover. I'm not really good at collage. It's still very new to me. But what I've got on the front, pardon me, I've printed 2 to a page, some of the envelopes from Rachel's kit. That piece there, and these corner pieces are from my great ugly experiment making the paper with the toilet roll. So this is an extra thick piece that I put through my machine using 9 layers. and then embossed with one of the 3D embossing folders. So that's kind of the idea. I want, pardon, I want a bit of bling on there somehow, but I don't know what. I found that in my broken jewelry, but I'm going to say no. It's too heavy, it's bulky, and it's got embellishments missing, um, but it's just too heavy. There's a smaller version, which I'm almost sure came off the same necklace, small flower. A couple of little gems here, and I've got that, and I've got a piece that was cut off of I think that was cut off of a top I found at a charity shop. So I'm going to put those to the side, and we'll see what happens. There were a couple of other pieces, but so that's as far as I've got. So those aren't stuck down yet. That is stuck to itself, inked. Now on here, I took that piece, inked it, and I've run a bit of gilding polish over the edges and a little bit lightly over the top, sort of with my finger. So we got a bit of bling going on because we want gold hardware and things on it. So move that over, and on that back panel of that that fabric from the inner panels, I've just layered and tacked down a bunch of different lace trims. So I had like old netting, old net curtains, the two other larger pieces of trim, and some odds and scraps and short bits that I found out of the drawer. So, right, I'm going to go away and do some sewing on this, and then come back and work out if I'm going to sew these on or just glue them. Still thinking about it, still completely winging it. So, I'll be back. Right, I've done a bit of wobbly sewing just to adhere all that lace and netting down onto the fabric. And I think I'm going to glue these on first, then embellish it, then get it added to the sewn onto the journal cover. So that's what I need to do next, is glue these on. Just go for it. And the beauty of this is that if I change my mind and it turns out to be absolutely hideous, I can just delete all the videos. Because this has been like, I've never sort of thought about recording this process or sharing this process with other people. I belong to a craft club locally. We meet once a month. And one of the ladies is like, could you do a class? Perhaps one Saturday. And I'm like, I don't even know where I would begin, really. I've thought about it, but it is just one of those things. I've done it for a while, so it sort of becomes second nature of just, do it this way, do it that way, and without thinking about it. Or you are thinking about it, it's just that creative muse. You're following your creative muse wherever it takes you down unexpected paths, and I find joy in that process of just going for it and trying my best not to overthink that process. What is it, years ago, people say, don't doubt the muse, don't question your muse, just go for it and do it. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. The saying that you look back some of the times of some of your more famous artists that spoke about having a muse, and who knows what they were on at the moment or in that moment. But no, that's just me talking nonsense. So get these glued down. Follow the muse. It's telling me to do it. Just do it and go for it. I definitely want to have another go at more of these types of handmade faux paper. It sort of put me off buying any more of the 3D texture embossing folders. Not buying, well, picking them up in like craft sales and stuff, because I had such a rubbish experience using them on paper, especially the more intricate ones, because they would just crack the paper, even though I was, dampening it down. But the effect, the depth of the effect that you get from this is just fab. And it doesn't take long to do, and I could probably knock up quite a load really quickly, and they don't take that long to dry either. When I did the video for the Great Ugly, most of those I dried with like my heat tool or my hair dryer. They didn't take long at all. So there we go. Sorry, I'm still croaky and battling my sinuses. I work in a building full of germs, so hey ho, comes with the territory. So right, those are glued down. So we've got this sort of thing going on. It needs some blings and pops of something. I just don't have a clue what yet. So I'm going to go off and search and see what I can come up with. I don't know. It needs something because that will then get stitched onto the front panel. So, no. My thoughts are going in circles now. So, right, I'm going to stop there, pause there. Right, so I decided that the edges were too plain. It needed a little bit of oomph or something. So I've attached some of that gold trim, and I absolutely hate it. It's hideous. I really, really don't like it at all. Even if I was to go back and add a bit of bling, you're not going to detract from that. So, before I throw it away, I thought, right, let's have a go just trimming it down, because that's the size of my cover. That's the size of the plate. I want that centered. I still need to add corner hardware, and I still need to add rivets or something as a closure. So to try to save this, I'm just going to whack some of the trim off. So do I freehand it with scissors, or do I use a ruler? Let's go for it. I just trim some of this off, because no, it's just, I'm not feeling it at all. And I'm ready to throw this in the bin next to me. So I'm not gonna look at the other side, just go for it. Freehand, trim off these loops. You really wanted to go full disco, I guess you'd go through and snip all the loops to be fringe, but that's not the vibe that I'm getting from Penelope in the signatures so far. I do want to add some extra bling and things to the front. Not bling bling, but you know what I mean. Just embellishments, the odd thing here and there. Not too thick, not too heavy. Beads, buttons, something. Not sure what. As I said, still winging it. So, alright. All that away. And with a bit of a different focus, maybe. Right, let's get rid of this. Move in. And let's have a look. So there's my cover. Maybe. It needs something. I don't know what yet. Right, I need to go away and think and play before I throw this away. Right, I've had a little bit more of a play with this thing. I'm still not entirely happy with it. I've stuck some bits of broken jewelry and bits of like applique things salvaged off of old clothing. There's a piece there. Some of these half rounds in pink. So I don't know. The plan was to stitch this directly onto the cover, but I'm not going to now. I'm going to put this away to think about, and because this can be glued onto after the fact. So pop that out of the way. So to get this thing, I want to get this cover put together. So open it up, get these clips off, and think now which is the first bit to do. So the inside I tend to do first. Make sure I'm the right way up. Yes, inside first. Inside panels first. So let's have a go. That one was that side. That one is that side. And before I was using glue stick. But with the paler fabrics, that doesn't always work out. So I'm going to try a bit of spray and stick this time on the lighter fabrics. Because I don't have any Fabrifix left. There we go. You should see the state of this desk, honestly. So let's do this side of mine frame. Yes. And I put it away, haven't I? Oh, there it is. Not much, just a very light coating. And it's just enough to hold it still to go through the sewing machine. And what I have been doing with this spray and stick as well is I heat it up a little bit with my hairdryer before I send it through my machine. And my machine's coped fine with it then. Now this side. A slight coat. I swear one day I am going to make something out of these grungy A3 pieces that I use for messy stuff, because it's just gloriously grungy now. I mean, look at the state of that. And it's had all sorts on it. Right, those are down. Before I can pop that through, the cover needs to go on, scented. Move things out the way, because that piece goes on with the spine. I'll attach that. That's my template for stitching, and that needs to get glued on the back of that, scented. And I could do that afterwards. So clip all these pieces together that need to stay together. and pop that out of the way so they all stay together. So for the cover, I need to get that on the other side so I can get my pull brad put through, because the back of that then will get covered. And on here, I think I've marked the center with a friction marker. Did I? I thought I did. Or did I use my mats? Honestly, I was really skeptical about filming the cover on camera. And I'm going to center that on my lines on my mat. And that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Oh, I can't do math. My head's gone. Right, let's get this on there and center it. It should be, yes, bang on, a 1/2 inch on each side. Yes, that is 6 1/2. 8 1/2. There we go. And then ever so carefully, I'm going to go around it with my sewing clips and make sure it's clipped into place as tightly as I can, and all the way around with the clips, and then it's going to go through my sewing machine, because all the other hardware can be done after the fact. I do apologize, I'm still gravelly and sore throat and not ill, just gravelly sounding at the moment. There we go. So I'm going to go around and finish clipping all of that and get it through the machine, and I'll jump back on. Right, and all stitched. There's the front cover, spine, and the back. So all stitched in. I did hit the edges of the fabric here with a bit of frayed burlap. And the inside, that now I've poked the hole through. It's disappeared though. Where's my get that pull brad into place. Where's it gone? There it is. And I need to double check my template before I bind. But I think I measured it before, so I know got clearance for these brads. Get it in the hole. Come on. There we go. And get that bit down. I don't tend to secure them any more than that, because that inner double spine will secure it once it's stuck in. So that will be the spine. I'll have a dangle of some sort off of there, and get the corners on. Why not? Just go for it. Do it. These are the only gold ones I have left. Everything else is silver and copper and bronze. So I would have liked some larger gold ones. The only ones I have. So I don't use pliers anymore for these. I've got this brilliant little hammer that came with a set of eyelets. So I get it on with my fingers, and sorry, I'm flip-flopping all over the place here. Make sure it's pushed in good, and then I give it a whack. And that tends to work. Yep. Base. The other one on. Sorry, off camera again. Honestly. And then I gotta remember not to stick my head under the camera. Is that in? Yeah. Give it a gentle one. And then a bit of a big one. Yep, happy days. And corner number 3. A bit of fabric in that one. Give it a little bit of welly. I wonder if I can adjust the sound of the hammering when I go to edits. So saying that, one of the edits I did before where I had the hairdryer running, when I did this sort of smart audio function in the software, it automatically muted the sound of the hairdryer, which I was quite surprised. I didn't know it could do that. Here we go. Last one. There we go. And I've got my 4 corners on. The brad. That inside bit will be this when it's all stitched in with my signatures jutting out. And let's get some eyelets in here. We do center is about there. Just a little pencil work. You can use those friction pens. I've used those before because heat will remove the ink. Going a little bit deeper. About maybe a tiny bit. I want to be slightly above the stitching. I don't want to put my eyelet through the stitching. There we go. I've mixed opinions about the crocodile. It's very good at punching through multiple materials, but I've got mixed opinions on its function as setted eyelets if it's not the brand name eyelets. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but no, it's not great. Then that one's going to be about there. Side of on, yes. Oh, it's made a mess of the fabric. Come on. It's fine. Right, pop that away. I'm going to use the setter that came with these. The only gold eyelets I've got are these. And I kind of want the back on the washer bit on the back of these. So I'm going to use I struggle to use the washer bits in the crocodile. So get it on that bit. Get the washer on there. I hope this works. Got thread in the way. Where's my little decoupage scissors? There they are. Little funny looking things they are. I found them in one of the discount stores, the Range. They're just called decoupage scissors. Right. That's in. Give it a smush. You're smushing the cardboard in, really. Those go on upside down, if I remember correctly. And then that goes on, and hammer time. Ready? There we go. And then I've got the washer bit on the back. And yeah, and then on the front. So this side. It's so funny. When I first started, I didn't have the crocodile for the longest time. I just had this. And I didn't even have this little hammer. I had like the proper hammer from the workshop. And every so often, a family member would stick their head in. What are you doing? As if to say, you know, why are you hammering at 10 o'clock at night? Well, I'm playing with paper, sorry. There we go. That on. Make sure it pops on. That on. And hammer time. Yeah. Case. So, as for making a cover on camera, that was an experience. So this is more or less ready to go now. Decide on a closure, get the signatures bound in, tags, I'll do tags for both these pockets. I tend to do an ex libris card to go in the front pocket, and I'll do something with my Faith and Grits to go in the back pocket, or a letter from the bookmaker kind of thing. And those get bound in, closure, decide on that front panel. Am I going to leave it plain? I need to make a tassel. So if there is anybody out there watching, thoughts? I've trimmed even more of that off now, hence the debris that is everywhere. I need to get the Hoover out. I really don't know. Or do I try a second attempt at a front panel using something like that? I'd forgotten I had these. Perhaps something with lace, an image in the front. I don't know. But I'm going to call it quits for now. Work on the signatures, see where I stand on those, and perhaps get the bare bones of the signatures bound in there, or decide on the signatures. So that's it for me. I'm going to call it full stop there, and thank you ever so much for watching and being patient, and I hope this gets edited together so it makes sense. So take care, my darlings. See you again soon.